Thank you very much for inviting me here. I will be giving part of a presentation that usually takes 45 minutes, so you can stop me at mid-sentence if necessary. What I'm doing here is essentially kind of a tease, but there are opportunities. In fact, there is, I think there's information on the table about a session on home fit that Goodwin House at Home is going to do, and there will be more in Arlington and Alexandria. So this is a presentation that AARP has put together, information and tips for a comfortable, safe, and livable home. I do want to get across the essentials for a home that can accommodate somebody using a walker or a wheelchair. That's a no-step entry, wider hallways, an accessible bathroom, and also wider doorways, and a bedroom on the first floor, even though that obviously can be any room that can be fitted as a bedroom. Those are the major points, and then I'll start going through some of the rooms in particular. So this is an example of a home that has a step entrances, and as you can see, it would not be a good arrangement for someone in a wheelchair especially. Not good for children, etc. In other words, any of these accommodations are useful to anybody living in the household. But you can see that the changes made in this home make it ever more attractive. That's the kind of thing you can do. The one thing you have to be careful of is the slope has to be gradual to accommodate someone in a wheelchair or using a walker. There are step alternatives, ramps. The one problem with ramps, of course, is they kind of betray that a person in the household is vulnerable, can make it more pleasing to someone who might want to enter that home who should not be entering. So that should be taken into account. This house shows ramps and handrails that are very nicely disguised. The other issue is the porches must allow a 5-foot circumference to enable someone in a wheelchair to negotiate the entrance. Mechanical lifts are available. They are not as expensive as they might seem. The one on the left side shows an entry to a porch, which is not that far above the elevator. And then the other one on the right is for entry on the second floor. Threshold ramps. Most entries do have some kind of threshold. What is shown here is an aluminum threshold. It's not great. It could be a temporary way of accommodating the threshold. It's aluminum, slides on cement. A better one is the rubber one. Apparently can make even a 6-inch threshold accessible. This is a standard kind of house, older house that looks very familiar. The front door of the average home that built after 1991 is 36 inches wide with a 33-inch opening. Bathroom doors, 27 inches wide, 26-inch opening. Bedroom doors, 30 and 29. They just don't work for us, for those of us who will be using a wheelchair. The ideal wider entrances are doorways at least 36 inches wide, hallways 42. It's easier to move large objects and provides an open feel to the house. Any of you who watch HGTV hear about the open concept all the time, and many houses are being built that way now. This is an example of a 36-inch door. Don't have to have both doors open at all times. To me, this is one of the great ideas, and that is the hinge. I call it a double hinge. It's a swing hinge, which actually is applied the same way you would apply a regular hinge, but it gives you about 2 more inches of space because it swings the door out further. Whoop, what did I do now? There. Sorry, there. Another great idea is lever handles throughout the house, because for those whose hands are weakening or arthritic, it makes it much easier to open. Handrails on both sides of the stairways. Thank you, Patrick. One question to make sure is the stairway well lit. The issue for older eyes is by the time we're 60, we lose half of the acuity of our eyes that we had at 20. Another one of those wonderful issues about aging. And then, do the stairs have a non-slip surface? You could apply the rubber strips. If there is carpeting, it should be very flat, very carefully attached. It can complicate moving. Stair lifts, I'm sure you've seen these advertised. If the stairs are straight, I understand you can get these for $2,500 to $3,000. It does cost more if it's a custom-made stair. Bathroom. The bathroom is probably the most important room in the house and maybe the one that needs to have the most changes. So we'll go over several of these aspects. The prefab shower insert can be fit into the space that most tubs occupy, which are about 5 feet. So as you see, it has the seat and would accommodate someone who needs help. Curbless showers, they actually do work, except that the floor has to be graded somewhat, and it has to be done by a plumber who can deal carefully with the drain. The regular drain does not work in this case. Shower and tub faucets. Notice the lever handles, the handheld shower bar. Grab bars. These are probably the single most important aspect of home modification. The grab bars are much nicer looking than they used to be. You see examples there that look like they're an important part of the bathroom because they are, but they're also grab bars. It's very important, however, I think in most cases we should have somebody who's professional in this do this. You have to have studs or blocking behind the wall so that it's carefully attached. You can get some low-cost modifications. Example is the rubber grab bar on the tub. It's rubber, so it will not harm the tub. The seat that allows a person to sit for the bath or shower. The issue there is you have to be very careful that you have the right seat for the right person and the condition they're in. Inexpensive alternatives. This is the fact that the comfort height toilet is 19 inches instead of 17 inches. Apparently the gel in our knees is lessened as we age, another great fact. But you see also, this is inexpensive and it also has the grab bars at the side. More grab bars. Could you fit a wheelchair under either of these sinks? Obviously, yes on the right, no on the left, unless you accommodated it. You can get cabinets that slip out. You can empty the cabinets in the bathroom so that someone in a wheelchair could get under that. You would just have to make sure that you insulate the pipes. Bathroom design elements, there has to be enough space for someone to be able to use all the facilities. And again, the 5-foot circumference so that someone in a wheelchair can move. Kitchens, I'm not going to spend much time on this, but the cupboards, you can have pull-down cupboards, countertops 30 inches above the floor. And I'm going to have to stop in 1 minute, so I want to mention, please, if you don't have it, pick up the Arlington Commission on Aging offers these steps to age in your home. Virginia offers a livable home tax credit for up to $5,000. Make sure you find out about that if you're planning to modify your home. It also will tell you how you can get the Home Fit Guide and many other good, solid materials from AARP. That piece from the Commission on Aging shows you how to reach that online. What I have done is a very short version. These guides will take you step by step through your whole house. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Carol Piquette, who is the founding director and currently the president of Arlington Neighborhood Villages. Ms. Piquette.
How is everyone tonight? It's great to have such a big crowd here. I hear that we have about, I believe the number was 110. So I wanted to say that in Arlington Villages, we have about 115 members now. So we have a village right here in this room. And I'm very happy to report that I'm not real good at math, but round numbers, I think about 10% of you actually belong to Arlington Neighborhood Villages. So it's good to have you all here. So let's go very quickly through this. Jane talked about the importance of making your homes livable. Well, that's a very important step, but sometimes you need more than that. You need some additional help to remain in that home, and that's what villages are all about. We are in the business of providing support to enable people to remain in their homes. And maybe I can get this to work, and maybe I can't. Sorry. We all need a little help. When it comes to technology, I need a lot of it.
This is the bottom one.
Oh, it's the bottom one.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there you go.
That's what you told me. If the first one doesn't work, use the other one. Okay. So our whole premise is there's lots of national surveys that say that people want to remain in their homes as they age. And a group of us got together about 3 years ago and said, you know, we really love living in Arlington. There's so much here in this community. We've raised our families here. We've worked here. We pay taxes here. You know, we do all these things, and we just love being here. So we're saying, why go someplace else when you retire? Because there's so much on offer in Arlington. So we picked up on a national trend in 2001. Some neighbors in Beacon Hill, Boston, kind of said the same thing, saying, gee, we really want to stay in this neighborhood. We're getting older. We need a little help. We can't climb up on the roofs anymore. We need somebody to help trim the trees. What can we do? Let's sort of band together and figure out how we can help each other remain in our homes. And you can see in this map, which comes from Village to Village Network, that there are, you have just a few seconds to count these, there are about 140 villages nationwide, either in development or operating. The mission of Arlington Villages, as I said, is to help people stay in their homes and live independently, safely, and with an enhanced quality of life. And we do that by providing support to, providing access to support services and social programs. We're a membership organization. That means we charge a fee, and I'll get into that in a moment. We're just going to quickly go through some of the benefits of the membership program. A couple of things that we offer as part of the fee is membership in the Arlington 55 Plus program, which I think many of you know. It's been in operation in Arlington for 60 years and has just a wonderful range of programs for seniors in the county. And the Washington Consumer Checkbook. We sponsor social events and programs. I won't bother reading these slides to you, but these are just illustrative of the kinds of things that we do. We provide volunteer services. So with a single phone call, you can get home services, home care services, transportation, assistance with errands, technology, and a daily check-in contact if you would like that. I'm going to quickly go through these slides and just give a few more examples of those different types of services, just to give you an idea of the range of things that we can provide assistance with. Essentially, if it's legal and we can find somebody to do it, we can help you with that. Right, Link? We have been in operation on April 6th of this year was our first year anniversary. And we're very happy to still be in business and be doing very well. And we really owe that to our volunteers and to our members. So we have members that have really appreciated the fact that we have a village, and we just have a few comments here from some of our members, some of whom I believe might be in this room, of how much they've enjoyed being part of the village. The key to everything, we're a nonprofit, is volunteers. Anyone can be a volunteer. To be a member, you have to be at least 55 years old, and you have to be a resident of Arlington. That's it. Our village covers the entire county of Arlington, and we have members in about 2/3 of the civic associations around the county at this point. But we welcome anyone as volunteers, and doesn't cost a fee. You can volunteer for free. We do train and vet our volunteers that are working with our members. Membership categories, we charge $500 a year for what we call a full membership. That entitles you to all the benefits that were listed on those previous slides. We have an associate membership, which is also $500 a year for an individual, but a chunk of that is counted as a tax-deductible contribution to the operation of the village. And you get all of the same benefits except for the volunteer services. Only full members can get volunteer services. I would also note that we provide financial assistance for full memberships. We currently have 9 members who are being given financial assistance. That program is completely funded by donations. It does not come out of the membership fee. And again, we thank many people in this room and many of our members who have contributed to that fund to enable us to do this. It's very important to us to be able to serve everybody in Arlington, regardless of where you live, whether it's a single-family home or a condo or an apartment building, North Arlington, South Arlington, and irregardless of your ability to pay for the services. So we try to be open and inviting to everyone. So what can you do? We're a very new organization. We need a lot of help. I think if any of you have been involved with a startup of any kind, whether that be a commercial startup or a nonprofit startup, there's lots of challenges and lots of work, and many hands are needed. When it's a volunteer organization, it's many, many hands that are needed. And so we are always looking for people who are willing to volunteer to help us develop programs, help us run the office, help us deliver services to our members. You can donate. We'll make good use of your money. It's a 501c3, so it's a tax-deductible contribution. You can tell other people about the villages. And, of course, you can become a member if you're 55 plus. I think there are a lot of people in this room that might meet that. So I just wanted to wrap up. Here's some contact information on the table. There's a copy of this briefing. There's a brochure about the villages. There's a table or a couple pieces of paper that lists in more detail the services that we provide. And there's also a sheet that you can sign up to become a volunteer, a member, give money, or just say, hey, keep us on your mailing list and keep us informed. I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Our third speaker is Debbie Miller, who is a seniors real estate specialist with McInerney Associates. Ms. Miller.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me. Yes, I am Debbie Miller, and I've been working with clients over the age of 55 since 1995 as a result of my own experiences with making decisions about my parents, my in-laws, and 2 sets of aunts and uncles who had no children of their own. I'm an associate broker with McInerney Associates Realtors and a certified senior advisor. I hold the seniors real estate specialist designation as well. I'm a lifestyle transition specialist, which includes guiding my clients through the process of making the right decisions for them, whether they move or stay in their home, and I help them oversee the process and coordinate all the details, as well as sell the home if they do decide to move. I have many years' experience working with clients. Let me say nicely, they love to accumulate. And they have deferred maintenance issues on their homes. So the Arlington Villages would be a great opportunity for them to take advantage of. But I teach a 2-hour seminar which covers this plus a bunch of other stuff, so I'm going to try to just keep it to 10 minutes for this one. So The basics are, should you stay in your home or should you move? And that is what's covered. So I'm going to talk about things here. I want to talk about recurring issues I see. After 20 years of doing this, I've seen it all, and there's not a whole lot that can surprise me. But I want to share with you the things that I think you could keep in mind when you're making the decisions that you're going to have to make. I do have a handout in case I go over my 10 minutes. You can pick up a handout on the table. But the three biggest mistakes I see for people who age in place, they assume that their house is the only option, and that may very well be so. But with Arlington homes, the hallways are narrow, it just may not be able to be accommodated for you. And I like to tell people, get all the information you can, because that will help you make a better decision. And once you have that information, you can make a decision. It all becomes clear to you. I like them to have a plan B, because you can easily fall down the steps or have a health issue arise almost overnight, and I've seen it happen too often. And if you don't make the decision, I like people to do it while they can, while they're mentally capable, physically capable, because if you don't, someone else will have to make that decision, and you may not like the decision that's made. Then they fail to create a safe environment for them to live, to age in place. And by safe environment, I deal with accumulators, and it's very challenging for them, because I can go into a basement of a person's home and they have boxes stacked everywhere because they've never been in it, but they have them there just in case they need it. The problem is mold gets in, the air doesn't circulate, it goes up through the ductwork, makes the first floor uninhabitable. So things like that that you don't think about. And what are you going to do with this? If you haven't looked at it in the last year or two, chances are strong that you're not going to need it. So give it away, sell it, give it to children. But remember, children do not want dining room tables. They do not want pianos. They do not want fine china. If they're under 40, they don't want that. If they're over 40, they already have it. So don't make more trouble. But there are plenty of places out there that would be glad to sell it for you. But please create a safe environment. There's no need to age in place and trip and fall. It can change your whole life. I also suggest getting a complete home inspection. Not only you can have service contracts with your HVAC person, but check all the nooks and crannies and get behind those boxes stacked up and see what's going on. Is there mold and mildew? Are there other issues? I had a gentleman once who let his home insurance lapse. Tree fell on his roof, went through the roof. He lived like that for 2 years. So it's not always a good thing. The other thing they forget to do when they're aging in place, they don't use professionals who can help them determine or perform the work that's needed. I like to refer people to certified aging in place specialists. And a CAPS person is a contractor. They're a member of the National Association of Home Builders Remodelers Council. They've had special training in how to retrofit your home. And they're the ones who come in and put in the grab bars and do all the right things, because they have the training already from contracting, but they also know the kinds of things you need, and they can help you work through those issues. And also I use geriatric care managers. They're wonderful people who go in and they can help you evaluate your situation, help you determine what you may or may not need to do to make it safer or better, and they also can investigate other locations for you in case you do have to make a move. Then the three big mistakes I see seniors make when they're getting ready to move. Okay, I have 5 minutes. Good, I'm perfect. I timed this at 9 minutes and 34 seconds, so I'll talk fast. One of the biggest mistakes I see, and it's regardless of whether you age in place or move, they don't allow enough time to go through their things. You all have collected things for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. It's not going to go away overnight. It's just not going to. And I know a lot of people that I talk to when I visit with them, they're overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. Start, even if you have to only do a drawer a day. Do a drawer, closet. I had a woman who had 5 white blouses. 3 of them had price tags still on them. She didn't even know she had that many. So just start with the little things. There are people out there who would love to have the things that you don't want anymore and that your children don't want. So take your time, but get through it. Don't wait till the last minute because it can be disastrous. I have to have teams of people come in and plow through things, and it takes longer than you think. The second thing they do is they take too much with them to their new home. I like to get a floor plan of your new place. If you decide to move, it's good. Then you can see, oh, my sofa can go here. I don't need that chair. Oh, my goodness. I need this. I don't need this. Oh, well, let's get rid of that. I never liked it anyway. Then they fail to price the home and do the work that's needed based on their location, the condition of the house, and the value of the house. Now, a lot of the Arlington houses, you see people selling them to builders. Well, builders use a certain set of criteria to decide if your house is one that would qualify for a tear down. When I go into a house, I listen to what the person's needs are, and then we talk about what should be done or shouldn't be done depending on the type of buyer. Just keep in mind, if you don't think of anything else, if you don't do the work, you're going to have a lower price that you're going to get as a net. If you do some work, you'll get more, maybe not as much as you would if it was brand new. Younger buyers under the age of 40 want everything already done. Over the age of 40, they may or may not want everything to be done, but you have a bigger pool of buyers if you do more work. There's a smaller pool, but there are investors and builders and contractors around who will take it off of your hands. Now, when you negotiate a contract like that, you specify an as-is sale. It means you don't have to fix anything, and all you need to do is take the things that you want to keep with you. Then the family can come in and take what they want. The builder hauls everything else away. You don't have to pay for that as a separate fee. And you don't have to fix anything. And you can negotiate to stay longer after the settlement. You can get your cash, stay a little bit longer if you need to sort through more things. Believe me, 30 years of stuff to sort through is quite a bit. So that's all I had to say that was really important that I wanted you to know. But make your house safe to stay in. And I think it's wonderful that I know a lot of clients who have aged in place, and it's wonderful, but not if it's not safe. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have the part of the evening that we all look forward to, the question and answer period. So if the speakers would come up and to the speakers table up here, if the audiovisual types would rearrange things here. And also we have, as all the speakers mentioned, there are a large number of handout materials of various types available on this table here. If anyone would like to pick up something from the table, now might be a good time to do it while we're arranging ourselves. We have two people that I know of that have kindly volunteered or been volunteered to carry the microphones around the room. Kim Klingler, who's back in the back, and Lynn Jewell, who is over here. And who would like to ask the first question? We have a sort of a custom here. Please ask your question in the form of a question. Kim. Say your name and ask the question in the form of a question.
My name is John Duran. I'd like to ask Debbie Miller, is there a charge for your services to come and help us unaccumulate?
It depends on how much you have. But yes, I do have, if you need help, if you don't have family members or they don't have the time, which is often the case, we do have a crew who can come in, help you sort through everything. Believe me, we shake every magazine. We have had silver certificates fall out. We've had $100 bills hidden under the carpet. So don't worry about that. We get every little detail, and then we help you sort through and separate it. It depends on how much stuff you have as to how long it will take to go through it.
Your initial visit for your advice.
Oh, no, my initial visit. I come in because I have to assess the property, find out what your needs are, and then we go from there. And then I develop what I call a lifestyle transition plan, which is a detailed, it's like a proposal kind of thing where I write up a report of what I find.
Next. You see one up here? Okay.
Yes, I wanted to know, get some idea of.
Could you state your name, please?
Oh yes, my name is Bob Deason, And we have a home, it's a 3-level home, and if we were to stay in our home, we would need to put in either the lifts for the stairs or possibly, and we've looked at this a little bit, an elevator. The elevator question was whether or not it would open and at the proper locations. And it looks like it's possible, but it would, with some remodeling of a bathroom and things like that, it could well run into $150,000 or more. My question is, if we were to make that improvement, what is the likelihood of getting some of that money back? And just a rough percentage even would be useful.
Again, it depends on how long you're going to stay, because the return on your investment is dependent on that. If you're going to move in 6 months, it's not a worthwhile effort. But if you're going to stay for several years, yes, it's worth it, because the next person coming in to buy your house is going to be attracted to the fact that it is an elevator and the bathroom has been retrofitted. So you won't get it all back, but you will get a good portion of it. It will be money worth spending because you will enjoy your house and the next person coming in will enjoy it.
Thank you.
Question back here. Al?
Yes, my name is Al Pierce. I'm an architect, although I've been retired for about 12 years. But I wanted to add a thought to the presentation you made about increasing door sizes and things of that sort. Bathrooms traditionally have had doors that opened into the bathroom from the hallway. That's only to save space in the hallway. There's no reason that door can't swing out. If you can do it, swing it out, please. But if you make it a 3-foot door, and if you don't, check your plans. You may have cabinets with drawers that come out and they could block the opening of that door or anything else. If you can open it against a flat wall or against a tub, you're far better off. Personal experience, my father died of a heart attack in the bathroom. He fell against the door. My mother, a small lady, and he was bigger than me. She could not get the door open. Fortunately, the EMT guys could get it open and got to him, but too late. But you might also consider putting in a pair of doors in that 3-foot opening. That gives you 2 18-inch leafs. They don't take as much room to swing, and you can make that work out well. The other solution is a pocket sliding door, which I don't recommend to anyone because they're such a maintenance nuisance. But give it a thought on how that door is going to be accessible at all times. Thanks.
Question up front. Kim? Up front.
Hi, Marie Shumbrady. I had a situation with some patients who seemed to have a lot of workers going through their house. And it took me a couple of years calling Agency on Aging, different things, finally getting them some help so their bank accounts weren't bled dry by people. Somehow they hone in on people who are disabled and moving to very independent women who have decided they're going to age in place with 2 different kinds of dementia was a very difficult task, and one I think we need to address on a county-wide basis. To notice with your neighbors what's going on. If there's a lot of work that's going on over there, maybe somebody's taking advantage of those people. I mean, yes, you want to get your house ready, but you don't want to be snookered in the process.
Is there a question there?
Yes, can you address that?
Very good.
Thank you.
Isn't it true?
I just want to add that it's on now, I think. Home repair, home modification contracting is rife with possible fraud. So as you said, neighbors should be looking out for neighbors. You do not want to deal with someone who has knocked on your door and said there's something wrong with your roof. The chances are there's something wrong with the person who's telling you that rather than your roof. But I would just like to mention what you really should be looking at, and when you're looking for a contractor, as somebody mentioned, the Certified Aging in Place Specialist, that's a great program. But you need to make a thorough list of what you need to have done, seek recommendations from family and friends, check the recommendations with the Consumer Affairs Office or Better Business Bureau, ask for estimates for anyone you're dealing with seriously, get every single thing in writing, and don't pay the final bill until all the work is complete. And that's very important, and make sure subcontractors have been paid. But I think it's also important for neighbors to be watching neighbors. We have experienced this in Alexandria directly where that had to happen. A woman across the street called the family and said something is going on here.
Fortunately, it happens too often.
If I might just add, from the village standpoint, is this on? The light's on. It says it's on. Okay. Did I say I need help with technology? Okay. One of the services that we offer through the village, we have a certified aging in place specialist who is retired and is offering her services to our members to come in and do those home evaluations, those home assessments, and making recommendations of things you might need to do. We're also working on a relationship with Habitat for Humanity for them to provide advice to our members on selecting contractors and how to go about putting together your statements of work and being prepared to deal with that eventuality. So I just wanted to say, the village is here to help you, and we're trying to identify all these services and find partners to provide that support to our neighbors.
Back in the back.
We have recently started production of an annual opera designed for seniors, and my question is, does Arlington Villages, how do they introduce seniors to the cultural touchstones of Arlington and Northern Virginia? And also, is there any possibility that our two organizations can work together to introduce seniors to the world of opera and develop their appreciation for this art form?
I'm sorry, I missed a little bit of your comment with that loud squeal, but we have a group called Opera Buffs, which is chaired by one of our volunteers who actually did some opera singing when she was a younger woman. They are a totally volunteer organized group. They get together to talk about the operas that are going to be presented at Boston Theater, the Metropolitan Opera, with their live productions, and they go to the opera productions together, and they get together for happy hours and discussions of the opera and other things. So it's, we try to find out the things that our members are interested in, and it's a great, email's a great thing, a website's a great thing. You can say, who wants to do this? And it's surprising the people that will come forward. Did that address your question?
I'm just a little, it's Miriam Miller, Opera Nova, David, but it's not about that. I'm concerned about the threshold to get the village to be part of that being $500. Do you have any provision in your nonprofit group for a scholarship or whatever you call it for people who want to get in, but they can't handle $500? I just wonder what happens to them.
Yes, we have a financial assistance program that if we use the HUD Section 8 income criteria for individuals who would like to join the village and cannot afford the $500 fee. So we hope to continue that program. As I said, we rely entirely on private donations to fund that, and so far we've kept it pretty well funded. Thank you.
Yeah. I'd like to ask a question, too, about affiliations with things. Do you have any affiliation with Encore Learning?
I got an email about that just today, interestingly enough. Yes, we will be talking to John and Encore Learning to pursue what we might be able to do together.
And I would just like to add that At Home in Alexandria is hoping to become more established with Encore Learning also.
Anybody? Question up here.
Peter Fallon. A few years ago, the county had a lot of discussion about something called accessory dwelling units. And there was talk at the time that that would be possibly a form of intergenerational, multi-generational living in a house. Do you find any interest in that, where basically, you know, the parents can stay in and their adult children and grandchildren come, or however that is worked? Is there any interest?
There is some interest, although the people I talk to want the parents in the house with them rather than in a separate place, just because they can interact with the grandchildren, they can do their cooking and whatever, but it's the interaction and social. It's like you're banished to the backyard kind of thing, but it's just something that's not as popular in this area as it is in other parts of the country. But I would say that most people in this area ask for something that could be for intergenerational under one roof. But I think it's a good idea.
I see a hand up in the back.
Hi, Priscilla Hoffman-Stowe. I guess my question is, how can Arlington really compete with the outer burbs that can build these big 55-plus communities with clubhouses and pools and all this great stuff? And in Arlington, I don't think, what my question is there, in all the development, are there any communities, they want to have pools and huge grounds, but are more 55-plus active communities besides like Goodwin House and those places? More options for people.
Well, there is a 55 and over out by the Vienna Metro station, but they are limited as to the land is so expensive closer in, they have to go further out. But there are pockets of areas. There's also what I call NORCs, and naturally occurring retirement communities, where people age within their apartment building or their condominium building. You'll see a number of single women get together to do group things, but the land is so expensive close in, it's difficult to have all the amenities that the further out places have.
But even condos and such being built now, are they being built to these sort of accessible codes or in Arlington or not?
Yes, the ADA came into effect, and that guides all the construction. Yeah, they have to meet the ADA guidelines for accessibility. Americans with Disabilities Act.
I would just add one of the great things about one of the great things about Arlington County is that we have a lot of those amenities that are publicly owned, and that's one of the things that keeps us staying in Arlington County, because we're the smallest county in the country, and we have so many programs and facilities that are available at no or very low cost.
Please.
I'm John Quinn. I ask this question at the risk of perhaps being accused of chasing an ambulance or two. But are you also advising the people that you're dealing with to consult an attorney to prepare a durable power of attorney and otherwise do basic estate planning so that while they're living comfortably in their home, they can get the assistance that they need other than just by having the roof
I do it routinely because I work with so many people who I'm not sure if they'll be here the next morning, because I have to call them to make sure they made it through the night. I make sure they have wills, durable power of attorney, trusts, all that. And I have attorneys that I work with who will help them through that process if they need it. But it's very important.
And John, I'd be happy to take your card, because we are putting together an end-of-life planning series. And we are looking for attorneys and financial planners and other individuals working with the hospice to put together a whole series of presentations to make sure that people have handled all those issues and know what their options are.
Patrick, my
My question, Debbie, I think is for you, is what kind of conversations are real estate agents having with their clients about purchasing a home that has a no-step entrance or thinking about that? And the second part is that, are you seeing any problems with the resale of those homes that have been modified?
If they have not been modified so that, well, in other words, a lot of people want to put in grab bars, and that can be easily removed and patched. It's not like the chair lifts, they can be taken out, and we can patch the stairs so that you can't see the holes that were drilled in the stairs. So it's not a big issue, but it should be taken into account when you go to sell. But if you're not able to take care of it, then someone else will have to come in and do it. So you just modify it. The chair company will come in and take it out for you when it's time to, if it's time to go for you to move. And when we discuss things, a lot of the people who are downsizing that I work with who want to move from their home because it's too many levels or whatever, they're looking at condominiums or at the active adult communities, or they're moving out of the area because if they want all the amenities, it's very expensive. But it comes up quite often as to how they can accommodate. Wider doorways, it's going to cost money, and that's something that they take into consideration. It's not cheap to widen and do all the retrofitting to the nth degree. That's why you have to pick and choose what you might want. But it is a big challenge, and I don't think Arlington houses, when they were built in the 50s and 60s, are not built to accommodate that kind of generational shift.
Hi, I'm Joan McDermott, and I wanted to ask Carol, would you tell us about the most frequent requests that you get for services and sort of give a range of services that your group is providing?
Well, I think like every other village in the country, our biggest request is transportation. Arlington has very good public transportation, but it doesn't go all over the county. Transportation is just a big need. There's a program called Northern Virginia Rides that is getting started up in Fairfax County, which is looking at ways to pool transportation resources across a lot of nonprofits that provide these kind of services, like the Shepherd Centers. And we're looking for a volunteer who would track that program and see how it might be used to benefit Arlington villages. The second most requested service that we have is for home maintenance. We do just really minor types of home maintenance things for our members, and there's been just a spate of requests lately for decluttering. I don't know if it's the spring season or what it is, but again, that's something that we can provide volunteers to do. Technology assistance is another area that people like me need to use. And we also provide companion service for people when they go to their medical appointments, if they want someone to go with them to be an extra pair of ears, help take notes, and make sure that they're getting the information that they need to get.
Thank you.
Behind you.
Hi, I'm Gail Dennis. A lot of these things are wonderful ideas, whether it's decluttering, whether it's repairing the plumbing, putting on a new roof, taking down a tree. Arlington County, with all of its regulations, particularly those over historic neighborhoods, make this extremely expensive and extremely difficult. They may even threaten you with jail, and they may even threaten to take your property away from you. Take it from one who knows. This leads to another set of expenses for lawyers to put a stop to this kind of things.
Is there a question there?
Yes, the question is that how are seniors who are on fixed incomes? Yes, we may have expensive homes, but we may have bought them so long ago that they were within our income. How are we supposed to afford these things with the escalating taxes, water bills, even a $500 a year membership in an association, which maybe we could apply towards the plumbing that needs fixing, or mowing the yard, or whatever it is. Could you address how we're supposed to afford this? Thank you.
I've had a number of clients take out what we call a reverse mortgage, which is a whole nother topic, but you're using the equity in your home they send you a check instead of you having to send them a check. My aunt did this a number of years ago. She took out a reverse mortgage to be able to put on a new roof and make repairs in the home. And then when she passed away, we paid off the reverse mortgage, and it was fine. But there are rules and regulations, and you do need to read the fine print. But I think as people are aging more different types of programs like that will come about so that people can stay in their homes. But it is an option.
I would also like to add that if you go to the AARP website, there's really good information about reverse mortgages. You really do have to be careful if you decide to get one, but you would get good information. And if you get what is called a home equity conversion mortgage, or we call them HECMs, you have to go through counseling, which is very useful, and they are well-prepared counselors who will help you decide if that's the best thing for you to do.
Hi, Lynn Jewell. Let's say I was a member of a village, and I needed to go to some nursing care. Does the village help me find one?
We are currently working on identifying agencies that provide the range of home health services, whether that be just assistance in the home or with some skilled medical care. We don't have that program in place yet, but we are working on it. In fact, one of our volunteers that's here this evening is one of the principal guys working on that. But we hope to have that ready to go in a couple of months.
And geriatric care managers are wonderful at helping you pinpoint where you should go depending on what your needs are.
Other questions? My mic went dead.
Anybody else have a question at this time? If not, I'd like to thank the panel very much.